The Native Americans are a diverse range of people consisting of many different First Nations inhabiting the North Americas. Although each First Nation has their own unique culture and beliefs, a common underlying thread of Native American philosophy is respect for nature and all living beings, as well as a strong belief in prayer and reverence for the Great Spirit or Great Mystery, the creator of this world and all its inhabitants. Dr. Charles Alexander Eastman, or Ohiesa, was a Santee Sioux. He was raised by his grandmother and uncle in the ways of the Sioux First Nation, and there was taught the traditions, stories, and beliefs of their people since time immemorial. As an adolescent, he attended school, and as a young man, attended Boston University Medical School and was one of the first Native American certified doctors. In order to help his people, he worked as a reservation physician, tirelessly caring for the wounded, injured, and ill. During this time, he saw the need for improvement of the conditions of Native American people. Later, he co-founded and was president of the Society of American Indians, which was formed to address Native American rights. Dr. Charles Alexander Eastman, or Ohiesa, believed that the understanding of Native American values and preservation of their identity would be beneficial to society as a whole. Later, he became an author and lecturer, using his deep knowledge on the ways of the Sioux as well as his understanding of modern society to educate the public on the contributions of First Nation people to American culture and civilization. During his lifetime, he wrote 11 books. Some have been used in school curriculums, and some have been translated into many other languages for all to enjoy. He is considered one of the most prolific authors and speakers on Sioux ethnohistory and American Indian affairs of the early 20th century. Today, we will continue with the Great Mystery from the book The Soul of the Indian, an interpretation by Charles Alexander Eastman, Ohiesa. The Great Mystery. In every religion, there is an element of the supernatural, varying with the influence of pure reason over its devotees. The Indian was a logical and clear thinker upon matters within the scope of his understanding, but he had not yet charted the vast field of nature or express her wonders in terms of science. With his limited knowledge of cause and effect, he saw miracles on every hand, the miracle of life in seed and egg, the miracle of death in lightning flash and in the swelling deep. Nothing of the marvelous could astonish him, as that a beast should speak or the sun stand still. The virgin birth would appear scarcely more miraculous than is the birth of every child that comes into the world, or the miracle of the loaves excite more wonder than the harvest that springs from a single ear of corn. Who may condemn his superstition? Surely not the devout Catholic or even Protestant missionary who teaches Bible miracles as literal fact. The logical man must either deny all miracles or none. And our American Indian myth and hero stories are perhaps, in themselves, quite as credible as those of the Hebrews of old. If we are of the modern type of mind that sees in natural law a majesty and grandeur far more impressive than any solitary infraction of it could possibly be, let us not forget that, after all, science has not explained everything. We have still to face the ultimate miracle, the origin and principle of life. Here is the supreme mystery that is the essence of worship, without which there can be no religion. And in the presence of this mystery, our attitude cannot be very unlike that of the natural philosopher, who beholds with awe the divine in all creation. It is simple truth that the Indian did not, so long as his native philosophy held sway over his mind, either envy or desire to imitate the splendid achievements of the white man. In his own thought, he rose superior to them. He scorned them, even as a lofty spirit, absorbed in his stern task, rejects the soft beds, the luxurious food, the pleasure-worshipping dalliance of a rich neighbor. It was clear to him that virtue and happiness are independent of these things, if not incompatible with them. There was undoubtedly much in primitive Christianity to appeal to this man, and Jesus' hard sayings to the rich and about the rich would have been entirely comprehensible to him. Yet the religion that is preached in our churches and practiced by our congregations, with its element of display and self-aggrandizement, its active proselytism, and its open contempt of all religions but his own, was for a long time extremely repellent. To his simple mind, the professionalism of the pulpit, the paid exhorter, the moneyed church, was an unspiritual and unedifying thing. Strange as it may seem, it is true that the proud pagan in his secret soul despised the good men who came to convert and to enlighten him. Nor were its publicity and its Phariseeism the only elements in the alien religion that offended the red man. To him, it appeared shocking and almost incredible that there were among these people who claimed superiority many irreligious who did not even pretend to profess the national faith. Not only did they not profess it, but they stooped so low as to insult their God with profane and sacrilegious speech. In our own tongue, his name was not spoken aloud, even with utmost reverence, much less lightly or irreverently. More than this, even in those white men who profess religion, we found much inconsistency of conduct. They spoke much of spiritual things while seeking only the material. They bought and sold everything: time, labor, personal independence, the love of woman, and even the ministrations of their holy faith. The lust for money, power, and conquest did not escape moral condemnation at the hands of his untutored judge, nor did he fail to contrast this conspicuous trait of the dominant race with the spirit of the meek and lowly Jesus. He might in time come to recognize that the drunkards and licentious among white men, with whom he too frequently came in contact, were condemned by the white man's religion as well, and must not be held to discredit it. But it was not so easy to overlook or to excuse national bad faith when distinguished emissaries from the Father at Washington, some of them ministers of the gospel and even bishops, came to the Indian nations and pledged to them in solemn treaty the national honor with prayer and mention of their God. And when such treaties, so made, were promptly and shamelessly broken, is it strange that the actions should arouse not only anger but contempt? The historians of the white race admit that the Indian was never the first to repudiate his oath. It is my personal belief, after 35 years' experience of it, that there is no such thing as Christian civilization. I believe that Christianity and modern civilization are opposed and irreconcilable, and that the spirit of Christianity and of our ancient religion is essentially the same. For more information, please visit Gutenberg.org. Caring viewers, it has been a pleasure to have you with us today for Words of Wisdom.